animal and plant cells. So it's part of biology. So let's get started. Make sure my microphone is on. Yeah, you can hear me. Okay, so let's look at the learning aims today. So we're looking at an overview of the structure of plant and animal cells. Number 2, an understanding of the differences between animal and plant cells. And number 3, a discussion of the roles of specialised animal and plant cells. Okay, so we'll just start off with an animal cell. So obviously we are animals. Okay, so our cells look a bit like this. Okay, so cell. Okay, the whole cell is the whole cell. So the outside we have a cell membrane on the outside. Okay, I think it's called ribosomes. Okay, the organelles. We have mitochondria, and we have this squishy bit, cytoplasm, and nucleus. Okay, so this is what animal cells. We'll go into the functions a little bit later. Okay, so this is sort of the labeling we need to do. We need to know these things. Okay, so the main ones to really remember: cell membrane, cytoplasm, and nucleus. But I think we could do mitochondria and ribosomes. Okay, to prepare us for science, but later on at GCSE. Okay, so yeah, cell membrane, cytoplasm, nucleus are the really important ones, but we'd like to talk about the other ones today as well. Okay, a plant cell, in a way, is more complicated, isn't it? Yeah, we're going to compare these and at the end, okay, and look at a few other things. We have cell membrane, that's in common. Ribosomes, that's in common. Cellulose, okay, we don't, so cellulose, so a cell wall made of cellulose, that means we don't have that in our animal cells. Mitochondria, that's the same. Cytoplasm, that's the same. Permanent vacuole, okay, so we don't have this in our cells. Chloroplasts, okay, we don't have those, and we have a nucleus. Okay, so we have those things. We're going to see the definitions, what they do in a moment. But so what a good thing for you to do, okay, is to pause this bit of the video, copy the cell down, and to label it. Okay, so I put a blank one in there. If you can just sort of screenshot or snip it, you can also do that. And then the same with the animal cell as well. So you have time to pause it and or to copy it, or write it down and label it. Okay, before we move on to what these things do. Okay, so this is what we do at school. So I'm sort of showing you just quickly. You may do this at school. You may not have done it yet, but you look at onion cells. So onions are part of a plant. Okay, they're a bulb actually of a plant. So you may have done this at school. So you took your sample of onion cells, so a very thin layer. On the underside of the onion slice you have. Use tweezers to pull it off, so like the skin bit of the onion. So place it in the centre so it's lying flat. Add 1 drop of iodine to stain. Okay, iodine to stain it with a strong colour. Place a slide cover at an angle and gently lower on top of the specimen. Stops air bubbles forming. Examine your slide under the microscope. You'll do this in class, but we're going to look at the results in a minute. I'm just going to show you because we're going to look at some onion cells under the microscope to see what we can see. Okay, so this is the sort of thing you'll see. Okay, when you do it. So this is actually a photograph of onion cells. I've seen it many times. So which organelles? Okay, so there's the word organelle. Okay, means little organ. So if you recall the organs in our body, like heart, liver, intestines, brain. Okay, in a cell, the smaller parts that we saw earlier, these sort of smaller parts are called organelles. Okay, so onion is part of a plant. Okay, organelles. Anything you can really see is a nucleus. Okay, so the only thing we can really see is a nucleus. So I said, why is iodine useful? It's because if it just wasn't stained, it would be completely clear. Like onion, if you look at an onion, the outer skin, but it's very clear, and we wouldn't be able to see it. Okay, so we cannot see most of the other, all the other organelles. Okay, so we can't see. Let's go back. We can only see the nucleus. We can't see any of these other things. Okay, only see the nucleus. Okay, so let's talk about what they do. Okay, so cell membrane controls substances moving into and out of the cell. Cell membrane. Ribosomes make proteins for the cell. Okay. Mitochondria, aerobic respiration occurs. So that's where we get our energy from, is the mitochondria. Cytoplasm, sort of like the liquidy bit. Yep, liquid, where organelles are suspended and where chemical reactions in the cell occur. Okay. And nucleus, right now, we'll be able to guess this one, controls all the cell's activities. surrounded by a nuclear membrane. It contains the genes and chromosomes to build proteins. All your genes and things like that, DNA, they're all in a nucleus. Okay. Let's see that for a minute, a few seconds. Just you're going to pause it. Okay, so plant cell, what do the parts do? Okay, so the same thing as before. We go back. But the cellulose cell wall made of cellulose strengthens the cell and gives it support. So you think about like a tree, okay, it needs a bit of support, doesn't it? It's a huge thing. We've got the vacuole filled with cell sap, keeps the cell rigid for support. Think about plants, if you don't water them, they wilt. So then the vacuole is mainly cell sap, which is mainly water. And it's to keep them sort of upright. And chloroplast, very important for the plant. This is makes it very different to us and animals. Contains substance chlorophyll, which absorbs light for photosynthesis. Very, very important to the plant. That's how they make their food. Okay, so it'd be a good idea for, let me just move this for you. Okay, it'd be a very good idea for you to copy this down, okay, in your own books, in your own notes, or to screenshot something, okay, to copy it down and to write down all the functions that have been on the previous slide. Like I said, this is a recorded video, so you can stop and then play it again at any point, okay? Okay, let's move on. Ooh, we're going to click it. Okay. So, also think about comparing the similarities and differences between the plant and animal cells. Okay, so organelles in plant and animal cells, and organelles found only in plant cells. Okay, so organelles in, so let's, I'm just going to escape this so I can write in ourselves. So organelles in plant and animal cells. So top of our heads, nucleus. Okay, cell membrane. Big writing might make it a little bit smaller so you can fit it in. Okay, but it's also good for you to follow along this as well. Plant animal cells, mitochondria. Of course, you can go back and look as well. Mitochondria. One mitochondria is actually called a mitochondrion. Okay, so is more than one. Okay, ribosomes. Okay, so let's have a look. Let's see if we are correct. It's all found in both plant and animal cells. Yeah. Okay. So I said, didn't write one, did we? I thought we were missing one there. So always go back and check like that. Cytoplasm. Okay, always go back and check. Yeah, when you do this, you miss them out, don't you? So only in plant cells. So really, plant cells have got like extra features, haven't they? Okay, they've got like extra features. I'm gonna make this text box a little bit text box. That's the word I'm looking for. Okay. So this is what you can do, actually, a bit of a lesson in PowerPoint. You can do a text box and you can write anything anyway. Only in plant cells, so we've got chloroplast for the chlorophyll. So you have to fit spell, look back as well. Chloroplast, we've got the cell wall. We've got the, made of cellulose, a bit of extra information there. Made of cellulose. It's actually what's in grass. That's why that we are, as humans, our digestive systems can't break down cellulose. Okay, so it's made. Other animals can break it down, like rabbits and cows can break it down. Okay, chloroplast, cellulose. What else have we got? In a plant only. Okay, so we had a vacuole. Okay. Yeah, vacuole. Also, we got anything else? Chloroplast, vacuole. No, that's it. That's what we've done. We're done there. Okay. Similarity of plant, so I'll leave that for you to do, okay, to look at to complete your cells. Similarity to plant animal cells are all of these. Differences are these. Okay, so let's just put it up on full screen again. Okay, so we're going to look at specialized cells now. Okay, so the next sort of half, we'll talk about half just about the basics. So large multi-celled animals and plants would struggle to survive if all the cells were the same. Okay, so you can probably just look at yourself and think, okay, my fingernails are different to my eyes and things like that, can't they? So they've all got different cells, and my heart's different to my lungs. Okay, so you have cell differentiation. Okay, that just means that different jobs they do. It's how large organisms and different types of cells have a specific purpose. The cells are called specialized cells. So here's some examples. There's lots of cells in the body. So muscle cells, intestinal cells, liver cells, cardiac, that's the heart, nerve cells, and blood cells. Okay, interesting about blood cells, actually, before we move on, it's always interesting about blood cells. They're sort of hollow, they're kind of hollowed out in the middle. They don't, the hole doesn't go all the way through like a donut. It's sort of like if you've got sort of a Baby Bell cheese and you squashed it a bit in the middle, it's sort of thinner in the middle. So these are blood cells, and they're actually thinner in the middle so they can carry oxygen, and they don't have a nucleus. So that's one thing straight away. We'll look at some more as well. Okay, specialized animal cell, nerve cell. It may sound odd, but this is my favorite cell because it's so specialized, isn't it? It's so sort of fancy. Okay, so let's have a look here. We've got the nucleus, okay? The cell bodies, that's the main part of the cell. Dendrites, these little bits that join to other cells. The axon is the whole length, okay? These can be really, really long. They can be 1 meter long, nerve cells. They are very, very long, okay? The myelin sheath, so this is a bit, it's like a fatty coating for insulation because they actually carry electrical signals, okay? It's called a synapse. Again, so we're going to talk about a bit more about these. So lots of dendrites. So these are here. Dendrite actually means like a branch of a tree in Latin. Dendrites to make connections with other nerve cells. So usually nerve cells are connected to other nerve cells in the body. They're not on their own. A long axon to carry an impulse from one place to another very quickly. Okay, so it's electrical signals are carried on the axon. Synapses, right at the end, contain chemicals called neurotransmitters. So the chemicals are passed at the synapse. This is electrical, and it goes to chemical to pass the impulse from a nerve cell to a muscle. They contain many mitochondria, we saw before, to supply the energy needed to make the neurotransmitter. Okay, so there's lots of things, unfortunately, can go wrong in the body with nerve cells, which some people are affected by. So they can be things with myelin sheath. It can be affected. There can be things with the dendrites, because this is very important cells, obviously, to make you be able to move. Okay, sometimes people have disorders where the movement's affected. So the synapse actually is chemical transmitter. When you take painkillers like ibuprofen or paracetamol, that affects the chemical transmitters of the synapse. So lots of medications are involved with the nerve cells. I think they're fascinating, the nerve cells. So I put it first. It's very interesting type of cell because it's so specialized, isn't it? It doesn't look anything like the other animal cell, but it's got the same parts in it. Okay, the muscle cells. Okay, so these make up a lot of our body. Special proteins that slide over each other. Again, look at them, all thin and like squeezed out. These help a muscle contract, so they're stretchy. Okay, they can contract and they can stretch out. They contain, again, as you suspect, many mitochondria. Remember, the mitochondria is to make energy. Okay, to help supply energy to the muscle when it contracts and relaxes. Yeah, high store of glycogen. The glycogen can be broken down to glucose. Remember, this is like sugar, which is used in aerobic respiration. So you may see another video on aerobic respiration, because another part in the mitochondria to generate energy. Okay, so really our key point is the mitochondria creates energy. Okay, and anything that's involved in of energy, like the muscle, the nerves, have lots of mitochondria in them. So like little tiny organelles, you can have lots of them. Okay, muscle. In an exam, if you ask for a specialized cell, probably the easiest one to draw is a sperm cell. Everyone does that. So again, very, very specialized. Okay, so sperm cells have to be able to travel to the egg in the animal. Okay, it's not just humans, all animals. Sperm and egg cells. Okay, so they have a tail. Okay, which actually moves. So it whips from side to side to help the sperm cell to move towards the egg inside the female reproductive system. Or if you are a fish or a frog in the water, okay, because they have external fertilization. And the middle section, again, lots of mitochondria again to supply energy to the tail, because you've got to make it move, okay? Because the sperm cell is one of the smallest cells in the human body. Okay, it's very, very tiny. You have to have a very special microscope to see one. Okay, a little bit of extra information. It's called an acrosome. It stores digestive enzymes, which helps break down the outer layer of the egg cell. So when the sperm cell, the male sperm cell meets the female egg cell, it breaks down the outer layer. And a large nucleus, look at the nucleus, is huge compared to the rest of the cell anyway, contains the genetic information to be passed on when sexual reproduction occurs. Okay, so a sperm cell would meet an egg cell, because an egg cell is a lot bigger than a sperm cell. Funnily, actually, the sperm cell is one of the smallest cells in the human body, whereas the egg cell is one of the largest. So it's still very, very tiny. But so that if you could get a human egg cell on its own, it would be the size of just a full stop on a paper. Okay, so I think it's just visible to the human eye, an egg cell. I think just about. I think so. That's the biggest cell in the human body is the human egg cell of the female. Okay. So you probably think about what would the egg cell look like. Okay, so it's got a big store of energy. It doesn't have to move like a sperm cell, because the female cell can just sit in the fallopian tube of the female, and it waits for the sperm cell. But yeah, if you get a test, specialized cell, sperm cell is one of the easiest. Okay, because it's got a very, very definite function. It's quite easy to remember what it looks like. Okay, that's a good thing here to like to pause and to fill in information. Okay. Okay, here again as well, to pause and to copy out and to fill in the information about why these things are useful. Okay, plant cell. Okay, so you think plant cells also a specialized cell. We haven't left out the plant cells, so it's got specialized cells as well. So different parts of a plant, like humans, okay, have to perform a different function. We don't really think about them as much, do we? Perform different things. As humans, it's a bit more obvious. Plants also specialized cells. Okay, the root hair cells. So this is on the roots of the plant. Okay, so they're underground, and the function of the roots is to collect water. So taking water for the plants. That's what we've got to think about first. Okay, so root hair cells, very specialized, contain fine hairs. So again, very, very, very thin hairs, which greatly increase the surface area available for water to move into the cell. Okay, so we want water to move into the cell because that's the roots. We need that. Remember to keep the plant not wilting. It's called turgid cells to keep them not wilt. Large permanent vacuole. Okay, speeds up water movement into the root by osmosis. Okay, so that means that osmosis is the method by which water moves into the roots of the plant. Okay, again, many mitochondria that help transfer energy needed to help active transport of mineral ions in the cell. Because that's not just the water is not just the function of the roots. They take up minerals. They don't take up food for the plant, but they take up minerals. So water and minerals they take in for the plant. Okay. Okay. So that was the water and minerals for the plant. What a plant also needs is to make food. Okay. So this is where the photosynthetic cells, okay, take account. You probably could guess where these are found on the leaves and sometimes on the stem, okay, of the plant. So obviously, plant's got leaves, the photosynthesis. Okay, so just a little bit of a recap. Photosynthesis is when a plant takes in carbon dioxide and water, and it gives out oxygen and makes sugars for itself. And when we eat a plant, we're actually eating the plant's sugars. The plant's made for itself. Okay, so when a plant makes something like a potato or a turnip or something like that, the plant's making that a storage for itself to survive. Okay, we eat it, but the plant's made that for itself, okay, to survive a winter. Okay, so let's have a look at the photosynthetic cells. So these are the leaves. So lots of chloroplasts. Okay, little green things, chloroplasts. These help absorb sunlight for photosynthesis. So photosynthesis actually occurs in the chloroplasts. So positioned in layers at the top of the leaf, so they're like little sort of brick walls. They've got layers and layers and layers at the top of the leaf to absorb as much light as possible. That's at the top of the leaf. There wouldn't be more found at the top than the bottom. If you think about the light. And they have a large permanent vacuole to help keep the cell rigid. What I said about the vacuole, to keep it rigid. Okay, when arranged in, so it doesn't like to slop over. When arranged in layers to form photosynthetic tissue, they help support the stem. Yep, they found the stem that's green as well, to keep it upright. Okay, so, oops, sorry, let's go to the end there. So yeah, there's lots of things to talk about with specialized cells and in animals and plants. Lots of the plants are forgotten about. We can think about the animals, and we think it's quite obvious. But yeah, it's a good thing to go back and yet to pause the video, to screenshot, okay, and to write down all the things we've learned. There's lots of information going on. Okay, but this will really help you with your GCSE as well. I know not there yet, but it will help you with that as well. And to look at each one, you can draw it. Okay, yeah, I always enjoy drawing the nerve cell. Yes, so different, isn't it? Okay, and obviously make sure that you have all this information as well. Okay, and this, and I'll call that the end. Okay, we've covered everything. So overview of structure of plant animal cell, understanding differences between animal and plant cells, and the roles of specialized animal and plant cells. Thank you for joining the video. Hope to see you in a future one. Thank you and goodbye.